What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. It's another one of Jay's takes. First off, just want to say really appreciate all the support on my last video. I really didn't expect it to do numbers like that. I know it's not like big YouTube numbers, but to me that's a lot. I got like quite a bit of comments, views, and likes, so I really appreciate all the love and support. I can't say that enough for that video. And it actually really surprised me because it's just one stupid little thing on a controller, but you know, that type of stuff matters to me, and it's really cool to see a bunch of other people really appreciate the small details and things like that. But anyways, yeah, that's enough of that. I want to get right into today's video. We have another one of these little concept idea video things that I think nobody really pays attention to. Maybe a small percentage of people are aware of what's going on in the handheld industry. And of course, the Nintendo Switch reveal was a couple weeks ago, and the demos are on the horizon. Within like 2 months, we're going to see exactly, you know, what this thing is capable of. But of course, in the Switch 2's absence and, you know, them taking their time, a lot of competitors have popped up for the handheld gaming community. You might be aware of things like the Steam Deck, the ROG Ally, and the million other little Windows handheld spin-offs that they've made in the past few years. We already know those, and we know what those are capable of. So we all know that the Switch 2 is definitely going to have its gimmick. I mean, motion controls and a new weird, albeit mouse feature is pretty much all but confirmed on the new console. We're not going to take away from that at all. You know, the whatever gimmicks they do try to put into their new console obviously sets them apart from the rest, and that's why they don't really participate in the graphics race, and they really focus on providing new experiences with their first party IPs. You know, Mario typically is Mario at the end of the day, same way that Mario Kart is Mario Kart. The formula of the games is essentially the same, but they do mix it up quite a bit, and the gimmicks is really what helps sells the console. Like I said, the Switch may come out with outdated hardware when it first launches, just like the Switch before it. When the original Nintendo Switch released in 2017, the day it came out, it was already on outdated hardware, and it's been like that for, I don't know, 5-6 years. You know, we got miracle ports of video games that should not be running on that type of hardware. These developers made it run somehow, which is mind-blowing. So that could be a strength in it. Even though it's outdated, the hardware is not going to change, giving the developers a lot of time to get used to making a port for the Switch 2. Eventually, if this thing has the same type of life cycle as the original Switch, we will see big games on the Switch 2 that were not there at launch. And of course, you know, the Switch is officially the #1 best-selling console of all time. And if we are going to make a predecessor with that, with better graphics and, you know, more capabilities, of course developers are going to jump on it and have their game on the #1 selling console of all time's successor. You'd be stupid not to do that. So those are some of the strengths that the Switch has for itself, and they really should not be afraid of any other handheld like the Steam Deck, the Legion, or the Ally, because at the end of the day they're PCs, and PCs are really great when they work, but oftentimes there's little technical difficulties and there's slight variations in components, like this thing has this CPU and this thing has this GPU, so the developers cannot possibly optimize for every single sort of combination that exists on the PC handheld market the way that they can with the Switch, because the hardware is not going to change on them within a year or two, and they don't need to optimize it in any other way besides one way, because everybody's going to experience it the same way. So that is really a strength. You do lose some graphic fidelity. Yes, you do lose some power, maybe frames here and there. But at the end of the day, you know what you're getting when you purchase a Switch game. You know that it's going to run. You know that it's probably going to look like shit. And you know that the frames are probably going to be bad. But if you're okay with all three of those, your expectations can't be let down. The same way that when you buy a game on like the Steam Deck per se, technically yes, it can run anything, but you don't know what the experience is going to be like. You don't know how many frames you're going to get, or you don't know how your game is going to look until you dial it into the exact way that you want it to play. Like, do you want to sacrifice some resolution? Do you want to sacrifice some textures? Do you want to sacrifice some frames? You don't know which way you're going to go with that game until you're actually in it. Everybody's experience is going to vary. Developers are going to vary. That's why they shouldn't be afraid of these guys. But what they should really be afraid of is Apple and iPhones and iPads and Apple TVs in general, because like the Nintendo Switch, the hardware does not change too often on iPhones. Better yet, let me rephrase that. The hardware changes every year on iPhones and iPads and MacBooks and all that. They get slight incremental chip upgrades, but the architecture for the chips stays kind of fundamentally the same. And that is something that developers can really leverage, because if they're just developing for one sort of code-based operating system and a family of chipsets, they don't really have to worry about optimizing or spending lots of time optimizing their games when the iPhone 17 comes out or the iPhone 18 comes out. It's probably going to work out of the box, and then they could probably do a little optimizing to take advantage of that extra power. Granted, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I'm not a game developer, but from what I heard and from my experience with PCs and my experience with gaming consoles in general, these are the sort of conclusions that I've drawn. So, not saying I'm right, but I'm pretty sure I'm on the right track. And if you look at today's landscape with the gaming things, you could technically run Red Dead Redemption 2 on an Android. Now, Android and iPhone are obviously two completely different things, but they are competitors, so they are similarly powered. So it's only a limitation of Apple's side, because you can't really jailbreak an iPhone to run Red Dead Redemption the way you can due to a Samsung. I'm just saying the iPhone has the power to do it the same way that a Samsung would. You just don't have the capability because we're in a closed down system. If you look at that, we could take that as a benchmark. We're already playing COD Mobile. We know Fortnite works. There's been AAA games like Assassin's Creed. I know Rainbow Six was supposed to come out last year. The Division. What else is there? There's Sniper Elite, Resident Evil. It's already starting. The wave has already started, and the momentum is only going to pick up from here. The best part about the iPhone stepping into this market, and why Nintendo should kind of be scared but not that scared of the iPhone, is because if you have an iPhone 15 Pro or newer at this point, or if you eventually upgrade to one, you won't necessarily need to buy a new phone specifically for gaming. Whatever you have at this point, if you have one of those phones, it's already capable enough. You can already do the games. It's just a matter of when the games are going to arrive onto your phone. That's really the issue, which I expect is to be later this year. They're probably going to make a big gaming push with the iPhone 17. So that is another thing, because you don't have to go out and buy a separate console. You already have one in your pocket. And like I was saying earlier, if you choose to upgrade your phone to a newer model, or sometime in the future, you're going to get graphic updates before Nintendo Switch. Like I said, their lifespan, they're probably going to have this technology for 5, 6, 7 years. If you upgrade your phone every 2 years, you're already getting a leap above and a leap above and a leap above. But then again, Nintendo's never been in the graphics race. I'm just saying, every refresh you do, obviously you're going to get a huge upgrade, or incremental at the very least. So over the lifespan of the Switch, by the time the Switch 3 comes out or whatever, the mobile phone gaming space will have advanced to a level above the Switch's 2 graphic fidelity, and it could probably even reach something close to a PS5 at that point, which will be again in like 5, 6, 7 years. And at the end of the day, you know, like I said, Nintendo does not participate in the graphics race. It has made their own success doing their own thing and not really listening to industry trends. But you cannot deny the convenience and the power that we will all have in our pockets in a few years. Anyways, that's going to be it for me on this video. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you think that iPhones will eventually reach current gen console level graphics without blowing up in your hand? If you think so, let me know. Would you want a game on a phone? Would you want to keep your gaming separate from your phone? Would you buy a phone just to game? Would you upgrade for better graphics? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comments below. If you liked the video or anything I had to say, please feel free to drop a like on the video. And if you want to hear more of the things that I have to say about certain topics in the gaming industry, anything from Apple, Nintendo, PlayStation, don't really cover PC, consider subscribing, and I'll be out. Peace.